A common struggle amongst married men is balancing between their mothers and their wives. Some men may even be dismissed as a mama's boy, sometimes unjustly, sometimes for good reason. Allah has elevated the position of your mom, and the same would apply for the future of the mother of your children. How does one navigate this between, mother and wife? This is one of the inevitable struggles of adulthood. Adulthood would have many struggles. Like I said, you guys are just waiting to get free of the box and start living your adult life. You're not realizing that comes with a whole bunch of responsibilities you don't have. And one of the reasons why the in-law situation is always the brunt of all jokes is because every single couple has to face them. There is no easy answer. Dear brothers, dear sisters, one of the biggest tensions in your marriage is going to be the balancing of your spouse with your family. It's a two-way street here. Daughters as well have to do the same thing. The most common source of divorce, one of the most common sources, and one of the most common sources of arguments in marriage, especially the beginning of marriage, is figuring out how to balance between the rights of, you're living with a family, your siblings, your parents, whatnot. Literally, one contract, one day, and all of a sudden, you're literally, another stranger is in your life wanting to take up most of your time. Both ways, right? How are you going to navigate? After the lovey-dovey, after the honeymoon phase is over, life is still there. You still have your parents, you still have your siblings, you still have this and that. Now, as your parents get older, they're actually going to need more of you. How are you going to navigate that? Again, there is no mathematical equation. You're going to have to deal with every situation. There is no two people are alike. There's a whole host of factors. How much do your parents need you? How many other siblings do you have? Are you in the same city? Financially? A whole host of factors. And that's why the Sharia did not come with specifics. It came with generalities. So yes, Jannah lies under the feet of your mother. No doubt about that. At the same time, the Prophet said, the best of you are those who are best to their wives. Those two are not mutually exclusive. You're going to have to navigate the both of them. And I cannot teach you how to navigate your particular journey because nobody will be walking in your shoes other than you. Nobody knows the characteristics of your lifestyle, the pros and cons of what your time, your money, the akhlaq of your mother versus the wife, the relationship. That's another factor. Do your wife and mother get along? Does your father and brother get along, or brother-in-law, whatever, get along? Everybody gets along. These are all factors that you have to decide when the situation comes. All I can tell you, I go back to what I said last week as well. First and foremost, a pure heart. Make sure you're trying to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, if you are in trouble, don't be too arrogant to get help from loved ones. Get advice. In the end, nobody can walk your shoes, like I said. But people that are older than you, people that have lived life, approach them. Say, listen, do you think it's fair? Do you think it's reasonable? How can I negotiate this? Talk to people that genuinely love you and care, and be open-minded. Realize marriage is all about compromise. Both sides have to compromise. There's no way a marriage will function if there's no compromise. You're going to have to compromise. And brothers, I'm assuming this is a brother that asked the question. Brothers, be very blunt with you. You cannot choose sides between your mother and your wife. Each one has a right on you. And if the both of them are a little bit irritated with the other and they take it out on you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, blunt here. You're the man. Be the punching bag. Really. Literally, I'm sorry, but man up. And I believe in men's roles, but I'm not a feminist. You know this, sisters. I don't believe in fourth way feminism. Men are men, women are women. Allah created us that way. And I say to the brothers, man up. Let your mother be a little bit irritated and spout it out. Let your wife be frustrated what your mother did and whatnot. That's the way, that's what Allah created you to be. Don't be a child and throw a tantrum at one versus the other. You are the son of one, and she will always be your mother, and Jannah's under her feet. And you are the maintainer of the other, and she is your responsibility, and you must protect her. So be the man. That's what Allah created you to be. Don't act like a child. That's a part of life. You have to navigate literally a mini civil war. And that's a part of the reality. Sorry, this is the reality, guys. That's the reality what's going to be. You don't understand this. It's going to be difficult. 90% of the time is difficult. But that's life. And you know what? That's how you're going to, you're not going to be able to surmount the problems of life until you face them. So yes, do what you need to do. And there are techniques that might come in handy in your particular situation. One of them, without a doubt, generally speaking, as much as you can, generally speaking, and the Sharia as a default mandates this. It is not healthy, especially for newlyweds, to be in the same house as the in-laws. I'm being very honest here. Especially for newlyweds. It is important that you discover each other in a safe space. Know each other's faults, weaknesses, akhlaq, characteristics. To have, and sometimes it's not possible. I'm not saying it's haram, but I'm saying it's healthy that there is a safe space for the couple and a safe space for the mother and father, right? And interactions then can be at least maintained. When the two are living in each other's, same area, it's a recipe for disaster, generally speaking. Now again, some of you might say, I cannot afford a separate house and my father is willing to let us live. Good, excellent. Understand that's going to come with a different set of baggage and rules. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Let's go for another 10 minutes, inshallah, because I know it's getting late. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. How do I communicate and maintain a good relationship with parents who are toxic? They love me but do not communicate or respect me or my decisions and instead insist on their way all the time without giving a single thought to my opinion. I have a question for you, brother and sister. I have a question for you. If your parents were right here, right now, and I were to ask them their analysis of the situation, do you think they would analyze it the way that you have? And I ask this because I want you to start going back to something I said many, many weeks ago. I know many of you are new, but those of you that are attending from the beginning, I said this many weeks ago, I think 2 months ago when we started. Ultimate truth is typically attained by allowing competing narratives of truth to engage in conversations with one another. I repeat, I want you to understand this point. Ultimate truth, if you can ever attain it, which is a big if, ultimate truth is typically attained by allowing competing narratives of truth to engage with one another. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you are adamant about looking at the world through your lens, that is one version of the truth. Your parents have another version of the truth. The best way to find the common ground and compromise, start looking at the world through their lens. Understand why they feel the way that they do. And then ask yourself, if you had their background, their knowledge, their paradigm, their epistemology, their upbringing, what could you do to better the situation you're in? And approach them with that. Number one, okay? Number two, there's no other way to say this. There's always going to be an awkward phase of your life where intellectually you feel like you're an adult, and maybe even you are to a certain extent, but financially and logistically you are not an adult. Most of you might be in that situation right now. You're living with your parents. You need to use their credit card for insurance and the bills, okay? If that is the case, then there is no easy way to overcome this phase unless and until you are fully independent. And that time will come, sisters and brothers. It's only a matter of time. How long are you going to be in this particular phase? I know it seems like forever. Been there, done that, right? It's only a matter of time before you break away and you become fully independent, and your parents might not like what you do, but they cannot enforce it on you. And you have the right to then rethink through and negotiate that relationship. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But let me tell you, when you get there, you will miss, believe it or not, being in the phase that you were in. Because with that light at the end of the tunnel also comes a whole host of problems and responsibilities that you currently don't have. So don't look forward to it without a sense of trepidation as well, okay? When you get to that end, there will be a nostalgia of how it used to be. And anybody who's older than 25, 35 knows this, okay? So don't be that eager. There's only going to be one time in your life, only one time, where you are still in your parents', you consider it a cage, I consider it a home, okay? Once that bird is let out, once you become free, you will never come back to your parents' house the same. You will come back as a visitor. And you're going to miss a lot of that connection and that nostalgia and whatnot. And then life is going to get even more tough after that. So all I'm saying, it is a phase. You have to negotiate it. There's no easy way to do so. And again, go back to what I said 20 minutes ago. Don't ask a sheikh, how should I treat my mother and father to do this? You have to use your common sense here. The goal is you don't disrespect them. You're never allowed to disrespect. You are allowed to negotiate. You are allowed to try your best to persuade them. You're allowed to, try to find a middle ground. You can never be disrespectful. And in the end of the day, you are not obliged to listen to your parents about the minutiae of your life that does not affect them. Okay? You're not obliged to fiqh-wise. But meaning, for example, your career. Okay? Your mom wants you to be a doctor. And you're like, I don't want to be a doctor. Are you obliged to listen to your mother? It's your life. Even the Sharia says you don't have, it's your life. How can she dictate the rest of your life for you? Right? She cannot force you wujuban as wajib. But then whatever I say, you still have to deal with the emotional reality of breaking your mother's heart. Right? That's a different topic altogether. Same goes for all the rules and the restrictions that parents place on you. If it's reasonable, then you have to obey them. Okay? Sisters, if your father says, come home at this particular time, that's a reasonable condition. Sorry, but it is. It's a reasonable condition. He's worried about your safety, right? That's a reasonable condition. But if they ask you to do something that is not of benefit to them, like I said, a career choice or whatever, or forcing you to marry, no way, no way. Nobody can force you to get married. That's your life here at the end of the day, right? So you don't have to listen to them. But the reality still of the emotional, attachment they have or the trauma that they have, nobody can help you in this. That's a part of life, and we all navigate. We all live through our dramas. Brothers and sisters, everybody has drama. It's not just soap operas. And you think your life is more difficult? All of our lives are difficult. Every one of us. We all have our internal traumas. We all have our battles we face. We all have our family issues. Every single person on earth. Don't ever think that only my life is bad. And frankly, after what's happening in Gaza, all of our problems are first world. All of our problems are first world problems. Thank Allah we don't have those problems. So put things in perspective.